Hi Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Aries be affected by the December 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the High Priestess and we have Justice. So if we have Libra energy within our natal chart, this is going to be coming through very powerfully here at our root. Then we have the Hermit and the Ace of Wands. So this is a gift just for us. We're represented by Wands in the Minor Arcana, by the Emperor in the Major Arcana. So the Ace of Wands is a gift just for us. Hermit energy right here is also Virgo energy. So if we have Virgo within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully here at in our inner self. Then we have our emotional self. We have the 10 of Pentacles. And we have the Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups is water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. If we are born on the cusp with Pisces, or we have water sign energy within our chart, this comes through very powerfully at our emotional self. Our heart is going to be teaching us a lot during this time, and this moon is really quite fantastic. So the fact that we're learning a lot from it, and we have the 10 of Pentacles here, that's really a great thing. The world opens up to us. We have the world in the public arena, and we have the Queen of Wands. So this is us, Aries, coming through, embracing the Queen energy of prosperity and success and bounty and abundance. There's also going to be a bit of a mystique around us during this time, which is a really nice thing. So there's going to be a little bit of mystery. Let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. This is Cernunnos. Now, Cernunnos is Capricorn energy. Now, with this Capricorn energy, it's interesting because Mercury is in Capricorn. This full moon is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Capricorn. So what we're going to see here is that we might need to be just a little bit mindful of the chaos that comes up during this time, because Cernunnos isn't the normal, kind of, yeah, it isn't the normal devil that we usually see. Cernunnos in Celtic tradition is the god of chaos. It is the nature god. It's saying, I need to connect with earth. I need to connect with the world around me. There's some disjointedness that's coming here that I didn't realize. And we're going to be very drawn to people who are a bit chaotic. They have this element of unknown to them that we're going to find really enticing. The problem is that they don't think things through. They don't look at the bigger picture of it all. And that's going to be really important for us during this time, to look at the bigger picture, to know that there will be consequences to our actions, whether our actions be good and, benevolent, or, malevolent and kind of egocentrical or bad, however we want to see them. That's going to be something we need to realize. Then we have our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. This is truth. This is the throat chakra. I need to speak and embrace truth. I need to embrace my voice, what I'm discovering, what I desire, what I want, and what I need during this time. This is going to be a time for us where people might say, I don't like what you say, but I do hear the truth in it, or I do see that this resonates really well for you. Now, that might be a little bit pushing it during these times, but what we're going to see here is that if I speak the truth, if I live in my truth, this is the place that I need to be for myself. This is the place that I need to embrace and desire for me. And it doesn't matter if anybody else accepts it or sees it or tries to twist it. What it matters is that I know my intentions, I know where I'm coming from, and I embrace the power of my voice. I'm not going to be silent. So there's going to be power there. And that's also because, this full moon on the 18th of December is in Gemini. And Gemini is all about talking. It's all about communication. It's all about discovery. We might sit there and think, oh my gosh, Geminis, they're so flighty. And fair. There is an element of flightiness. There's this air element to Gemini. Gemini is an air sign. But also Gemini is like, I'm not going to stay if I know it's not right for me. Aries, we can sit there and sometimes look at things and say, I'm going to make it right. Like, I can get this done. I can see the problem that needs to be solved, and I'll solve it. And sometimes we need to walk away. Sometimes we need to say, you know what? It's not going to change. It's not right. And here it says the answers you need are coming. And as we're seeing what's right for us, what we desire, what we want, what we need, we're going to see the answers are coming. So let's talk about this astrologically for a little bit. And let's look how everything correlates to the cards. Now, on the 18th of December, again, we have the full moon in Gemini. This is one of the best ways to end 2021 because this full moon is extraordinary. The full moon in Gemini is very lucky, and therefore we are very lucky. It is because of the strength of the role that Jupiter plays during this full moon that everything is amplified. We are going to be mindful. We are going to be, we're going to need to be mindful because it isn't going to be completely smooth sailing, but it's going to be dang near close. What we have here is we have the sun opposite the moon. That's always how the full moon begins. It begins with the same story. It begins with the same once upon a time. The sun is opposite the moon, and this lasts for 2 weeks after the full moon. And the power of the full moon lasts with us for quite some time. This always brings us closer to our relationships, and this always brings our relationships into focus. We're also very aware of the different directions that we're being pulled in, and we have to be open and honest with ourselves with what is draining us, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to juggle things. If we're doing bad time management, sometimes definitely can see that, things take longer than we think they're going to take, or, we're pulled in this direction, we're pulled in that direction. The full moon really brings us to awareness. We're emotionally and instinctually at our peak during a full moon. Our increased emotional strength and intuition helps us see what we really need to focus on and helps us to overcome any challenges. We are more aware of our subconscious understanding during a full moon, and we'll find ourselves relying on this intuition, relying on this understanding. It is also significant to understand that the full moon is also the end of a cycle. It's the end of a cycle started with the new moon. And at the end of the cycle, we need to let it go. We need to let go of so much. We need to let go of what we've brought forward. Maybe not even just from the last lunar cycle, but, from years ago or months ago. And here we start to honor ourselves. Now, these are the last hours of the North Lunar Node in Gemini. Because the full moon is in Gemini, this is amplified. Gemini is represented by Mercury, and Mercury is in Capricorn, making the energy of the North Lunar Node in Gemini much more rational and grounded, which is a really great thing. This means that we will be able to perceive and articulate and really achieve what we want. And that's an awesome way to end, 2021 and to really set up our goals for 2022. We have to also remember 2022 is the angel number 222, the time of new beginnings. This brings emphasis on what we want to achieve and where it is that we want to go. The full moon is in discord with Neptune. Now, this is interesting because Neptune is our spiritual understanding. It's like our sixth sense really coming forward. It is our beliefs, it is our hopes, it's what we want and what we need. Neptune will have us looking at things from a higher spiritual understanding, a higher energy vibration. It's not really having us look at the reality of it all. We can kind of see the reality of it, and actually we can recoil from it and say, that's not what I want. That's not what I need. That's not where I need to be. We're starting to look at and really see our dreams and how we can start to incorporate them into our waking world, and how our dreams are becoming more of an active part of who we are, how we're setting forth and saying, this is what I want. I'm done hoarding away my gifts. With the High Priestess here, the veil is being lifted from our eyes. We're seeing things so much more powerfully, so much more honestly. If we're born on the cusp with Pisces, or if we have Pisces within our natal chart, it's going to affect our heart, but Pisces is also ruled by Neptune. This is going to come forward very strongly for us. Okay, that sense of my dreams have a voice, my passion has a voice, my instinct has a voice. How do I let it speak? But we also have to be mindful that the way that we're perceiving things, we also have to have our feet firmly planted on the ground. Because the dreams that we bring forward, we can think, oh, okay, I can do this. But then when we start to look at it rationally, it's like, how do I put everything together? Now, Lilith, which is the black moon, is in Gemini. This makes it so that we believe in something that's not quite true. And that's the energy that we're really seeing around Neptune. We start to really believe in our dreams, but something comes forward, it's not quite true. We'd like it to be true, or, when looking at it, it feels like it should be right, but it's not going to be right. Just because sometimes we perceive things to be a certain way. It's kind of like when you're reading a text or something like that, where you think, oh wow, that person's really ticked at me, or their tone has changed a little bit, or somebody has forgotten, to do something, and we think, oh, why are they mad at me? And it's not that they're mad at us, it's that they've gotten so astoundingly busy that it's just changed the game. So here, just make sure that we verify what we're being told, because what we instantly believe or how it perceives is not always going to be how it is. If we do not have the facts, don't act, okay? Wait until the 20th, because around the 20th or so, this is going to be when the influence of the black moon starts clearing up and we start seeing things correctly, all right? The full moon is trine Jupiter. Now, this brings positivity, good luck, wealth, abundance, and happiness into our lives. We have the ability to grow spiritually and personally, and that leads to us being healthier, happier, and wiser. It's like we start to see ourselves. There's been a time where we haven't been seeing ourselves. We haven't been checking in. We haven't been, embracing what we really want. Now we are seeing ourselves. We don't feel as alone with this alignment and with ourselves, because it's easier for us to share our feelings with others, with ourselves, with the way that we want to move forward. We are also going to find great rewards in our relationships and through socialization. We're going to be open and honest with our goals and what we are looking for within our life, which will benefit us in the long run and will benefit us in the personal and business relationships that we're building. This is a really great time for networking. This is a really great time for coming together. Just be mindful of sharing too much with lower energy people, okay, with people of a baser energy vibration. They're not really in a good place. They could be, just lower kind of greedy, power hungry people. Just be mindful of this, because these less developed people will try to sabotage and cheat their way to the top using what we bring forward. So just be mindful. This is a wonderful moon for the holiday season because it's a time of goodwill and generosity and spreading that goodwill and generosity. The full moon quincus Venus. Now Venus goes into retrograde 6 hours after the full moon on the 19th of December. Now, this makes it a bit tricky. But what is wonderful about this time and this energy is that Jupiter, which is the most positive of the planets, is a lot stronger in its alignment with what we are wanting, how we are going forward, than Venus is. The full moon quincus Venus increases our need for love and affection. Things will become a little bit tricky if we feel our relationships aren't balanced, because it has us really feeling things intensely, where we can feel taken advantage of, or we can feel smothered, and we need to have balance coming forward. So that's going to be very important. This isn't the time to act, but it's a time to step back and look at our hearts and what we desire and what we love. How do we love ourselves? Are we putting up with things that just aren't okay, but have they become okay because they've just become a pattern of life, something that we just have to grimace and bear? And why? Why are we putting up with it? Even if we're not in romantic relationships, we need to ask ourselves these questions in regards to our family, in regards to our friends, in regards to our business relationships. We need to be grounded in ourselves, and even in the relationship that we have with ourselves, we need to be grounded in what we love and who we are and how that love builds us forward, and if that love is tearing us down. The full moon is also quincus Pluto. Now, this alignment can increase the imbalance in our relationships. It can also make us get really, really real with ourselves and really see things in a much more open, much more honest way. It's get really real really fast. We need to share our feelings with someone that we trust, with a friend, with a family member, with a therapist, with a spiritual advisor. This way we can avoid the crisis that can build up within us if we don't express the pain that we're in, or we don't express the way that we feel taken advantage of or overwhelmed, or just that the heart isn't in it, the heart isn't stabilizing. Venus conjunct Pluto, okay, this makes us in love with the idea of being in love. We will want to increase our love and affection in our lives, and we have to make sure that we're not being swept away by lust, because we can sit there and get all caught up into something and it can just be lust and not love. So what we need to do is we need to hear what our heart wants, and we need to show up for ourselves. Now, let's talk about the fixed stars. We have the fixed star Betelgeuse, which is located in the constellation of Orion. Now, this Betelgeuse brings material honor, promotion, wealth, and it reveals immense strength. And the question is here, how will we use that strength? How will the strength that Betelgeuse brings forward transform us, bring us forward? It is also known as a workaholic star. It brings nothing in halves, meaning that we are either all in or we're not in at all. So just be aware of this. It also is in alignment with the power of the moon. This star makes us swift-minded, strong-willed, makes us a bit rebellious and restless when we feel controlled. We don't like authority figures when this star is really shining on us, and it can also bring great power, honor, and wealth to situations. Now, the constellation of Orion brings us strength, dignity, self-confidence, inconsistency, arrogance, violence, impatience. It also brings success in trade, especially overseas trade. So there's some really good things that come forward, but we have to be mindful that our temper doesn't get the better of us. And we have to be mindful that we don't think ourselves, better than we actually are, staying in reality and not kind of building up our own self-importance, or seeing people who are building up their own self-importance. It's temper it down. The fixed star Polaris is located in the constellation of Ursa Minor. Now, this is not as positive as Betelgeuse is. It can cause sickness, it can cause trouble, it can cause loss of fortune and disgrace, which is not fun at all. It can also bring legal and inheritance issues, and we can get evil intention under this star. This star is a guide to what we need to look at and what we need to fix. So it starts to kind of bring up problems and discords and disharmonies within our lives. It's associated with the bears. It's associated with Ursa Minor, of course, and astrologically speaking, the bears were said to be evil omens that had influence especially over the reigns of nations and kings. So what we can see here is political muckiness coming up. Okay, I really do see this more as Polaris influences the nations more than it influences the individual. So just be aware of this. So Polaris may have a bigger effect on the nations, on the rulers, than on our individual selves. So just be mindful of that, and then it can kind of trickle down. So just be aware of this. Now, with everything that's going on, astrologically speaking, during this time, we have the High Priestess coming forward, and she's on this, kind of representation of the moon. It's an octopus, tentacle, of course, but there's a sense here of the wisdom coming forward. And the High Priestess and the moon go hand in hand. What we're going to see is so much wisdom coming forward during this moon. What we're going to see is so much insight guiding us forward, greater understanding of things, deeper, connections, and it brings us to the veil being lifted from our eyes. It brings us to being able to see things so much more openly, so much more honestly than we have before. And as we see this and as we understand this, we start to understand ourselves. We start to see what we want. We start to see what we need. We also start to either both. We call ourselves out and we call other people out. There's going to be a disillusionment around other people where it's like, wow, they're not who I thought they were. It's not how I thought it should be. It brings us to justice. We're balancing the scales. We're cutting through doubts and fears and negativity. And we're finding ourselves saying, where's the balance? Where is the harmony that I need? Where is the power that leads me forward? And it brings us to the Hermit. And the Hermit here is the dragon guarding its treasure. And it's kind of like, what am I guarding that no longer has any use to me? What does a dragon have with gold and silver and jewels and maidens and everything that a dragon takes in storybooks? It doesn't have a use for it. What we have is the things that human beings value, being guarded by the idea of a monster. And so in our subconscious self, as we turn inward, what are we guarding? What are we afraid of saying, these are my gifts, and I'm letting them out into the world? This is what I dream of. This is what I desire. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is where Neptune comes in and says, where are my dreams? And how do they move forward? And it starts to bring us to a place, Aries, of newfound passion, of newfound insight. It's like, this is what I wanted. This is what I waited for. This is what I need. And as we embrace this, as we see this, we embrace and see ourselves. We transform, we get a greater understanding, and as we get this greater understanding, as this gift of new beginnings comes forward and prepares us for a year of new beginnings, it brings us to the 10 of Pentacles. It brings us to prosperity and success and bounty. It brings us to a sharing of our wealth with the world around us, but also with ourselves. Instead of hiding it away, squirreling it away within us, saying, oh no, I can't possibly bring that forward. That makes me too vulnerable. That, might get me laughed at. Now we're looking at the generational blessings that get to come our way, the things that brighten our lives and enhance our souls and connect us with community and family and friends and so much more than we ever realized. And now it gets to shine, and as it shines, we have the Page of Cups. We have healing, beautiful love, healing us and guiding us. We have our heart chakra cloaking us. So it's saying here, remember your heart. And that's something that comes up during this full moon, when Venus goes into retrograde, with the moon quincus Venus, with the full moon quincus, Pluto, with Venus conjunct Pluto, our heart is coming forward. And it's like, what am I learning from my heart? What is holding me back? What is keeping me from fully embracing what I desire? We're going to be surprised where the revelations come. We're going to be surprised how we see things, how we open up to things, where we are guided forward. And this brings us, as we are students of our heart, as we're standing in our heart and learning from our emotions, learning from our love, learning from ourselves, and surprised as we do so, it moves us to the world. It moves us to the world opening like we didn't imagine it could. In the public arena, doors are going to be opening to us that we didn't even know were closed. We're going to see ourselves moving forward in a way that we didn't expect. We've undersold ourselves. We've also thought, okay, the world has to open this way. This is what happiness looks like. This is what success looks like. And for some, yes, it might look like that box. Or for the majority of people, it might be that certain rigid way of doing things. Now for us, it is not. It is saying here, how do we see ourselves within the world? Where's our passion? Where's our desire? Where are we moving forward to? What are we moving forward towards? And how do we embrace it? It brings us to the Queen of Wands. It brings us to being powerful and insightful. It also brings us to having hidden gifts coming forward during this moon. And as these gifts come forward, as we embrace what we need, what we want, what we're seeing, what we're desiring for ourselves, it becomes a game changer. We're taking this gift within our inner self. Now, is it going to be as shocking as if the Queen of, Wands was here within our inner selves, or as if the Ace of Wands was in our public arena? No, because they're of different decks. And so there's going to be a bit of a disconnect. But it's going to come together in ways that we haven't anticipated, in ways that we didn't see for ourselves originally. And it brings us forward to a place where it's like, oh, that's what it all meant. And now we're starting to be just to ourselves. We're starting to see things become balanced, but we're also starting to call out the energy that isn't right for us, the things that we've tried to make work that just don't. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Oh, goodness. Oh, and remember, that at our root here, we have Libra energy. Right? Libra is ruled by Venus, meaning that the Venus energy that comes in, Venus going into retrograde, Venus being quincus, the full moon, Venus being conjunct Pluto, that affects us. Our hearts affect us. And we're going to think, I'm a warrior, I'm Aries, I just need to power forward through it and not realize that I have to sit in communion with my heart. I have to look and see and think and understand. And if I do so, well, then my world will change. Because we're going to see that it changes. Now, at our root here with the moon, we have work through your fears, because it brings us to new beginnings. And by the time of the new moon, because this is the new moon right here, and this is the new moon in Scorpio, which I don't know where the new moon will be. Okay. But here we have work through your fears, because it brings us new beginnings. I do know the South Lunar Node is in Scorpio, and it's having us work through our fears. It's having us look at things in a very different way. And it opens up the door by it's either the 1st or the 2nd of January on the new moon. We're going to see that, things have become clearer to us. We stepped through like one reality into another. We're stepping through that portal. And it can just be of ourselves and saying, why am I afraid? The worst thing that could happen is I fail. Fine. But the best thing that can happen is I succeed. And will I let failure be the definition of me? It moves us to our inner self. It's the new moon again. And purity, the snow moon, which I believe is the full moon of January or February. And here we have the sense of when we look into the darkness, when we begin, when we start this beginning, when we embrace this greater understanding, it brings the purity of spirit. It's the purity of the freshly fallen snow. It's the silence of the world when it snows. And it's so beautiful, and it's so quiet, and it's so calm. And there's nothing. There's not a sound. Like as the snow is falling, and then when the snow stops, and the birds start to sing, and they like echo through the trees and the land, and it's just magical. That's what we're looking for here. We're looking for that magic moment where the whole world seems to be silent. And we can start to hear the music within us. We can start to hear the dreams that guide us forward. And it brings us to this place in our emotional self of adjustments are required because our will is strong. Will we make the adjustments to be able to move forward? Will we understand the greater picture to go after what we want, to see what we desire, to open up those doors? It brings us to the public arena self. Look at the bigger picture and find your balance. So when we're aiming, right? When we're embracing Sagittarius energy here, because this is the full moon in Sagittarius, when we're aiming towards our goals, when we're looking at what we desire, when we're really seeing these things and going after it, what we're going to find is that we need balance. We need balance, we need harmony, we need insight and ideas, that it's not going to come if we do not stand within ourselves. So in the public arena, we balance. The moon says to be balanced. and to look at the bigger picture, which we're able to do because of, the Capricorn energy, because of the Jupiter energy that comes in. And we have this strong sense because, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So we have this strong sense of taking aim. This planetary alignment of the full moon trine Jupiter is taking aim on what we want, on the wealth and the prosperity and the abundance and the spiritual understanding that is guiding us forward, the health and the happiness that gets to be a part of our lives as we move into this new year, as we embrace who we are and who we want to be and what we desire. It moves us to our subconscious lunar self. And this says, be bold and make the first move. Darkness. Darkness comes. Now we have the winter solstice that is coming on the 21st. We have the darkness coming in. We have the new moon on the 1st the 2nd of January. We have the darkness coming forward. What is going to be revealed to us as we embrace this darkness? It brings us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of, and it's the Chariot. Now remember, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So we're moving forward by the dark horse of the moon and the light horse of the sun. So we're moving forward with these two energies guiding us, this greater understanding coming within us. How are we going to go? And it's something to be mindful of. Are we going to be veered off course? Are we going to let people into our lives that aren't in balance with themselves consciously and subconsciously? Are, self-sabotaging, and why? It brings us to our subconscious chakra energy. And this is life purpose. This is the third chakra. There is a sense here of ascension. There's ascension to our purpose, to what we desire, to what we love, to what we need, to who we are. And the purpose of our lives does not have to be something grand. Okay, we often think it has to be huge. It has to be like, Fortune 500, so big, but it can be small. It can be quiet. It can be beautiful. It can be, sharing laughter with our children or our grandchildren. It can be our nieces and nephews. It can be, falling in love. It can be, having a pet and, having that companionship. It can be the coming together of the heart and saying hi to people as you're on walks, and just the sense of connection and community. It doesn't have to be something, our life purpose does not have to be something that is a legacy that will last forever. The reason why Tutankhamun, King Tut's tomb, was remembered was because he was such a small king that nobody bothered to steal from him, because it was considered, they were on to bigger and better things. And yet everybody remembers his name because his tomb still stood. So it doesn't have to be that it's grandiose and over the top. Just remember, we can have our lives. We can live our happiness. And it could be making cupcakes and, lattes and, maybe opening up a little tea shop, or, just going to work at a tea shop and being happy and contented within our existence and having a smile. It moves us to our subconscious rooted self. And that's the Emperor. That's us. At the very root of us is us. Subconsciously, there's power and determination and focus and insight as we claim our throne, as we embrace our voice, as we look at the bigger picture of what we want and what we need. It brings us to our subconscious inner self. And that's the Two of Cups. That's the healing, beautiful love coming forward. It's the Minor Arcana Lover's card. It's a sense of the heart being everything. If we connect with our heart, if we heal with our heart, and we embrace the unity and the coming together of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, that's just going to change the game. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self, and it's the Knight of Wands. That is us being a warrior. That is us charging forward. We have the sacral chakra here. We have the sense of creativity and sensuality guiding us, leading us. We also have a lot of the trauma from this life and from past lives wanting to hold us back. Do not be held back. Move forward in distinction. Move forward in tenacity. There's a need to move, to be, to become, to not stay stagnant during this time. And it brings us to our subconscious public arena self, and it's the Two of Wands. It's seeing us move forward. It's going after what we desire, what we need, and what we want. It's seeing the door open, and we have the world right here. So the door opens, right? And now we're starting to say, oh wow, I hold the world in my hand. The way that I move forward can be towards what I desire, what I want, what I need. It's not being egotistical, but it's starting to say, my happiness matters. My life matters. My passion matters. How am I opening the door? What am I walking towards? What am I working so hard towards? And how do I embrace my life, my soul, myself? All right, Aries. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this last full moon of 2021. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries, and may you have a blessed moon.